And we're on. It is week two. I'm going to take you just through what our week's going to look like really quick. But first and foremost, I want to tell you that when it comes to Google Classroom, it's kind of a learning experience. You learn as you go. I don't want you to stress out about it, okay? I know that you're running into hiccups. I'm running into them too. And it can be frustrating. If you get frustrated, and you can't figure out how to do something, I've got a tutorial for you on how to submit assignments. But more importantly, I think more important than a lot of anything I'm really going to talk about is that I don't want you to stress out too much about this. Okay. It's a new platform for all of us, and you'll learn as you go. And so if you get frustrated, take a couple of minutes, step back, go get a glass of water or something, maybe listen to some music for a few minutes, de-stress and come back to it a little bit fresher than you were a little while before. So keep that in mind. I don't want you to stress over this stuff. Okay, I don't want you to stress over the little hiccups or glitches or anything like that. There is a way to work around almost everything on this. Okay, it just if you're stressing out, you're not going to be able to find it as easily um, as you would if you came back fresh after a little break. So keep that in mind. We talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs last week. We're going to have a little bit of a review right off the bat, and I've also got suggested schedule down here for you. You may want to do this, you may not. Before I really get into that, though, I also want to talk about we're going to have some learning targets every week. Okay, those are going to be specific to your class. Okay, I've got geology students, I've got physical science students, I've got biology students. You're going to have specific learning targets that we're going to try to hit every week. So keep that in mind. I'll need you to actually read those learning targets every week. Okay, so it'll be attached to an assignment, and you'll need to take a look at it, make sure you understand what we're going for. So I broke this up, and this is actually attached to an assignment too. So I'm not going to take you through every item or anything like that. This is just sort of a suggested way of breaking it down. Monday's the heavy day. Wednesday, you got a little bit more to do, little less to do, I mean. But you do have a short writing assignment too. Um, how do we know what we know? We've talked about this a little bit in some of my classes. If you remember, I would sometimes ask, how do we know what we know? We talked about uh, needing evidence when you make claims. Like sometimes I would have students that would say, "Hey, the Earth is flat," and I know they're kidding or whatever, but we, to seriously make a claim like that, the Earth is flat, they would have to have some pretty strong evidence, and there really isn't evidence to show that. There's evidence that it's round, but the question I always ask is, how do we know what we know? Okay, because you need evidence to back up a claim, and in each of our classes, we're going to be talking about that, and you'll need to demonstrate that you recognize the evidence of scientific concepts, and you can maybe write a few sentences about that, or maybe a couple of paragraphs. I don't know. We'll see. I'll try to take it easy on everybody. Friday we're gonna have a performance task, and that sounds like a big deal. It isn't. Okay, like just for an example, I'm just like the geology students. I'm gonna have them like sketch out boundaries, like for plates and stuff, like tectonic plates and seafloor spreading and continental drift. I'm gonna just have them do a quick sketch, take a picture of it, and submit it, and I'll look, and that's one way to demonstrate understanding. It sounds like a big deal in a performance task. It really isn't. It's okay. And of course, you know me, I like my mini quizzes every Friday. Okay. Now, do you have to stick to this schedule? No. You can work ahead if you want. You can save it all till Sunday evening. That's going to stress you out, though. And I'm all about de-stressing this whole process. Um, so I don't know. Maybe I'm not the greatest at de-stressing the process, but I'm doing my best. Um, like I said, Google Classroom gets really picky sometimes. I know that. Have patience. I've included a tutorial for you. You may have watched it last week. You may need to go back to that and take a look at it and refresh your memory. So, and that's okay too. Um, I'm having some questions about grades and all of that. So your grades for say like week 2 will be posted on Skyward by Friday of the next week. Okay? So you're not going to see like you turn something in, and I know Google Classroom has its own gradebook and stuff. The official gradebook is Skyward. So I will take those grades from Google Classroom and input them into Skyward, but I'm not going to do that until like at least Friday of the next week for those. So if you do stuff on like if you turn everything in on Sunday night, you're not going to see it until Friday that week, that next week actually. So and the reason is because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm teaching classes. I'm also doing it Thursday, Friday. I'm answering questions, but I'm also working on my own college classes too. And everything I have due, all my big like 1,200 page papers on all sorts of stuff on educational equity and things like that, those are due Wednesday, and those are like monster assignments. So I'll get those turned in Thursday, or excuse me, Wednesday. Then Thursday, I can transfer your grades into Skyward, and maybe a day or two to make sure I got them all in, and they'll definitely be in by Friday, maybe Thursday. I'm not sure, but so I think I got mixed up as to like which Friday I meant. So if you're turning stuff in Sunday evening, those grades won't be in until that Friday. So 5 or 6 days later. It's not like an instantaneous thing. Skyward isn't a live real time thing anyway. I think everyone understands that. So we're wrapping this up. I'm going way longer than I wanted to. Thank you for your patience. I had a lot of things I got to cover. This will kind of get pared down as time goes on, and we're getting a little we're getting used to Google Classroom and distance learning. Okay, so far I've done one video for all 3 subjects. Starting week 3 next week, I'll do a video specific to each subject. If you need help, you guys know my email address. It's jtynan@gcdsd.org. Um, and also, I had a check in last week that said, yes, I would like Mrs. Clark or Miss Knowles to check in on me. And thank you for saying that, whoever you were, but you emailed that or you entered that into the survey with an email that was not specific to your name, and I could not identify you to Mrs. Clark or Miss Knowles. So if you still need that check in, and I really suggest you do, um, make sure that you email me from the gcdsd.org email, or identify who you are if you're emailing from like, gamerboy 2003 at hotmail or gmail or yahoo.com or whatever. Okay, so make sure you identify who you are. Don't just say, yes, I'd like a check-in, and then cut it off at that, because I don't know who you are. I went through Skyward seeing if I could match up the email with anybody, and there wasn't any luck. So make sure you, anytime you're talking to me, always identify who you are. So, especially if you're emailing from a non-specific email address, and I can't tell who you are from that email address, make sure you let me know who you are. Okay, so make sure here's always a big deal for me because Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you can't learn if you're not taking care of yourself. Okay, like you guys have heard me say this before. You make sure you're doing something physical every day. Make sure you're sleeping, drinking water, not going off on energy drinks. Make sure you're not skipping any meals or anything like that. Okay, food is fuel, right? And like I said, try to set a schedule. You don't have to necessarily, but it may help you uh, kind of gain a sense of control over your time in the underneath the stay home, stay healthy order. So just anything you can do to make your time uh, under the quarantine easier, I think really would benefit you. Yeah, so sorry I took so long. I miss all you guys. I had a lot of things I wanted to cover. They'll be a lot shorter as time goes on. So all right, I'll see you later. Make sure you get a hold of me if you got any questions. Bye.